Holly, congratulations on your victory this evening. A big one. I mean, finally, getting the big win at 145 and also kind of shows some new wrinkles in your game. I just kind of wonder, how personally satisfying is this victory for you?
Oh, there's a lot of things that are satisfying with the victory, but there's also things I want to do better and do more. It doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss. I always think, man, I could have done this too, or maybe I should have tried this. I want to learn from every experience, whether it's a win or a loss. I want to just be learning from wins from now till forever, because I hate to lose. So it feels good to be here, and just, it's a lot of stuff we've been working on in practice for a long time. It's just it finally kind of, was something that I was able to use in a fight.
You talked about your preparation coming in, that you didn't really study her so much, you studied yourself and trying to correct your flaws. Did that play out tonight? I mean, did those things that you wanted to correct, did that play into your victory?
A couple of things. A couple of things kind of went with it, but because it was such a different game as well, it wasn't really anything that, obviously the takedowns and the ground stuff isn't anything that I've really had in other fights, so that didn't really pertain to a lot of it. But, a little bit of it was. There's a little bit of improvements I made that I'm happy for in the fight, and then there's stuff that I still thought, I always want perfection.
She landed a couple big shots early on, and I wanted to ask you, I mean, you've been in there with some of the hardest hitters in the game, but there was so much made of her power and her size. You're the first one in the UFC to experience it, so I wonder, was it different? I mean, was it stronger? Was it more than you expected?
She hit pretty hard. It's not been the hardest I've ever been hit, but she was very strong, very powerful. She's a big person. She towers over me, she's a big fighter. And all week, I like to see her, look at her, and just, I like to see my opponent. I don't want to get in there the night I'm going to fight him and then look across, because they always look bigger than life anyway when you're about to fight them. So, she's a big girl, but that didn't mean that she wasn't beatable. And I just really wanted to make sure that I was staying level-headed and just, I just believe in my training. I know I put a lot of hard work into it, and I knew I would react in the way that I should if I just really believed in my training.
And lastly for me, Amanda Nunes took to social media and said, let's do this. Cyborg actually chimed in and said, hey, yeah, that's a fight I'd love to see happen. So, I mean, you've got a lot of options on the table, but, I mean, does a championship fight at 135 sound about right?
I think anything you lose, you want back, right? That's something that's dear to you. I think that's probably closest to my heart, but I want it all. I don't think that you even get in this game if you don't want it all. I want it all. I want victories, I want belts, I want all of it. And it's just one step at a time, one fight at a time. And really the only thing on my plate right now was tonight. And I'm going to enjoy that. I've got a lot of friends and family here that I can enjoy this with in Chicago. Chicago's, a place that I've been to a lot. My wrestling coach is from here, so I feel like this is like a home away from home. So I'm really just going to kind of take it in, and sometimes I think I don't give myself enough time to just enjoy my life for a little bit.
You just mentioned your wrestling coach. Is it safe to say you might be keeping Israel around now with how well your wrestling looked tonight? And has that been your secret weapon this camp?
I've been working with Izzy for actually quite some time, and he's been really helpful in a lot of things, even though maybe my fight hasn't gone to where I'm taking them down. But there's a lot of things that this is. So starting with Mike Winklejohn when I was 16, a lot of people search for a good stand-up, coach, and I've been with him the whole time. I've never changed camps. And when I started to get into MMA, Greg Jackson was such a big part of that. And he even actually coached me as my coach in a lot of my boxing matches because he's part of our team, and then Izzy started coming down to the gym and started working just on my strict wrestling with him. So I've actually worked with him for a while. So, and then, actually in 2015, I started working with Tusa and Barata with ground game, and those are my main, kind of team. And so I'm surrounded by great coaches, the best in the world, and I really don't have any intention of changing. I'm usually loyal to my coaches. I don't just let anybody in because I definitely want them to be good coaches. And so I'm very blessed and very proud of my coaches and very thankful for everything they've helped me with.
Thank you.
Holly, congratulations on your win. You said you want to celebrate the victory, and here I am asking the question anyways. But I mean, how do you feel you match up with Amanda Nunes if that is your next fight?
With,
Amanda Nunes.
you know, every fighter can be beaten. That's how I feel. She's very tough, and she's proven that. You know, she's ran through some girls. She was very dominant in her last performance with a very game. You know, Raquel's a very game fighter. She's usually a little scrapper. So, yeah, it's definitely a tough fight. But what am I here for? You know, I don't want to take the easy route, and then at the end of my career, think I wish I would have pushed myself a little more. So, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll go from here.
You've obviously accomplished a lot in your career, but in some ways you're always going to be attached to your first title win in the UFC against Ronda Rousey. I'm sure you heard tonight she's going into the Hall of Fame. I just wanted to get your opinion on Ronda going into the Hall of Fame this year.
I think that's great. She did a lot for the sport. She's done a lot for the UFC. She's done a lot for, you know, bringing the women into kind of the women have been around with mixed martial arts for a long time, but she kind of helped open some of those doors for a lot of us. With that being said, one person can't do it. In order to have a fight, you have to have two people. So she did a lot, and you know, kind of being an inspiration for a lot of other girls coming in. You have to have two to make a fight, and so a lot of these girls kind of chasing that dream with her, and she stood her ground for a long time, was a very dominant champion, and so I'm happy for her.
Hi, Holly, right here. Following your post-fight interview, we reached out to Chris, and she said she saw a lot of skills that you didn't showcase when you fought her. She didn't really elaborate. I'm just wondering what you think she meant by the skills that you didn't show.
I feel like I would have maybe a little idea of things that I did different because I know what I did different, but I think I would be even a different fighter the next time I got in there because I'm constantly wanting to get better, and you know, I'm trying to work on everything in my game. So.
Holly, it was a great crowd tonight, and in the post-fight talk with Joe, the crowd got real loud, really started cheering you on. You got a little bit emotional there. Was there a certain reason why? Was it just great to have the crowd behind you in a moment like that?
I don't know. You know, I really feel the energy from the crowd all the time, and I can't say enough how great my fans are, and I just hope it keeps growing. You know, I hope that whoever has been supportive and whoever is cheering me on and supporting me, I hope they all know how much I appreciate it because I would literally not be able to have my job that I feel is a dream without it. So I hope they just feel that energy, and maybe they feel it. Maybe they, you know, I want them. It's exciting. It's something together. Whatever we do in there, if we get a victory, everybody else feels victory. That's your fan. If you get a loss, they kind of feel that heartache too. You know, so. I love being able to have a victory and with all of my fans, whether they be here or overseas or at home, to give them that, you know, sense of excitement with me.
Last thing I wanted to ask is, after spending 15 minutes in the cage with Megan, obviously she was very hyped up going into this fight. Did you take anything away that you maybe didn't expect that she would bring, and just what are your thoughts on her moving forward?
You know, a lot of what she did, we knew she'd be tall, we knew she'd be strong, we knew she would be long. She's the tallest fighter I've ever fought. I fought one girl that was 6 foot tall in boxing, but it's different. You don't have someone's clinch game, you don't have someone that can lay on you, you don't have it, so it's a different game in boxing. So yes, it was a long reach, but it's still different. You don't have, you know, kicks coming at you from her long legs, you don't have knees coming at you, so it's still a different game. I've never faced someone like her, and I knew that she was going to be tough. You know, I was telling my team, I said she's coming confident. I can feel it. She's confident and she's sound-minded, you know, and I think that's the toughest opponent to face is somebody that's a very confident fighter, somebody that believes in themselves, and she's here for a reason, and she was a very game opponent, and I'm very thankful to have shared the octagon with her.
A lot was made throughout fight week about Megan's size, and you were really able to control the fight, you know, physically. Did you feel you were stronger in the cage than her?
You know, I have a lot of teammates that really help me out, and majority of the time I'm sparring with the guys, and there's a lot of guys that I train with that are 6 feet tall, which, of course, for this fight, we picked more of them for my training, and that is what I love about my team. We don't only have the best coaches in the world, but we've got such a great team that we can hey, can you help me with sparring today? And they're so great. Every time that you even ask them to work, oh sure, whatever you need, you know, they're happy to help and happy to be there. So I had a whole training camp of being able to, you know, fight with and spar with some, you know, long reaches that and trying to kind of mimic my opponent. And so, you know, if I didn't have that, it'd be a little bit harder to deal with it because she's got a long reach. She's a big girl.
Hey, Holly, congrats. Just had one question for you. We've been asking the fighters, the winners tonight, what do they prefer, the early weigh-ins or the afternoon weigh-ins, since it's somewhat of a hot topic this week, and I just wanted to get your vote.
Oh, weigh-ins.
Yes.
I thought you said wins. I was like, oh, I like them anytime.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fan of early weigh-ins because I've always kind of cut most of my weight at night. But if there's this big debate of changing it, I don't know. Maybe for me, I feel like I like early weigh-ins. But if they're gonna change it, why do we gotta go all the way to the afternoon either? I mean, can we make it like an 11 or 12, or you know, because it gives a little more time. Because you know, it's 9 to 11. Usually, there's 2 hours in there. Well, if they start them at 11, if people want to weigh in early and they're on weight, let them weigh in early. They've done their work. They've already cut their weight. Maybe 11 to 1, or you know. But I don't really think that it makes that much sense to do this so late in the day because that's less time for recovery. And what we're really trying to do is be ready for the fight. So I think we should cater more to the fight than the actual weigh-in time, I guess. That makes more sense to me. But, I mean, I don't know why it has to be either 9 a.m. or like 5 p.m. We could probably, if they really want to change it, I don't know. I like it in the morning, but if we're going to change it, I don't know why it has to be afternoon. It's probably maybe something different in the middle.
Thank you.
Thank you.